5. Creepy encounters at rest stops and gas stations. You're in the middle of a long drive. The highway stretches ahead. The night is deep. The only lights are distant car headlights and the neon of a solitary station. You pull in for fuel, maybe a moment of relief. But what if what you find is something you can't simply leave behind? Tonight, we'll look at 5 chilling stories from travelers who learned that rest stops and gas stations are never quite as safe as they seem. The midnight fuel stop. It was past midnight when Maria, let's call her Maria, pulled off the interstate in a remote region of the country. Her car was humming low on fuel, her phone signal patchy. The gas station was a single building standing under flickering lights, isolated. She got out, stretched, and walked into the convenience store. Blinking coolers, the smell of old coffee, the tick-tick of the overhead fan. The attendant was an older man, his eyes tired but polite. Maria paid for her fuel, grabbed a cold drink. As she walked back to her car, she sensed someone behind her. She turned and saw a figure in a dark jacket, standing by one of the pumps, just watching. She dismissed it, maybe someone else fueled. She climbed back in, started the car, drove around the station to fill up again. When she returned inside to pay, the attendant looked at her with an odd expression. "You left your window open when you were outside?" he said quietly. Confused, Maria asked what he meant. He told her, "Someone was leaning through the driver's side window. I told him to move." Then he went around and looked in your trunk. Maria's heart jolted. She remembered walking back from the store, seeing the figure, but assumed they were fueling. She asked if the attendant had told the figure to leave. He nodded. The man walked off into the darkness beyond the pumps. Maria finished fueling, thanked the attendant, and left. But once on the highway, she noticed something on the car's trunk lid. A faint smear of something dark, like charcoal streaks, and as she wiped it off, she felt the hairs on the back of her neck raise. For the rest of the drive, she kept checking the rear-view mirror. In the distance, for a moment, she thought she saw headlights following her. She never looked back. The vending machine whispered. John and his friend Derek were on a long haul from one state to another. They planned to stop at a known highway rest area just after 2 a.m. The rest area had bathrooms, a vending machine, and a couple of picnic tables under pale lights. They pulled up, smoked a quick break, walked inside the bathrooms, and then Derek got a snack from the vending machine outside. John waited by the car, lights off, engine idling. After a minute, Derek came out, snack in hand, but something in his face made John ask, "You okay?" Derek shook his head. He said, "I heard someone whispering my name." John turned. The lot was empty, except for their vehicle. Derek insisted he heard a voice, low, maybe behind the vending machine. When John looked up, the vending machine's glass front showed the snack lights flicker. On the far side of the machine, just in the shadows, he thought he saw a face, pale, unmoving. They packed up and left without finishing their snack. When they stopped again an hour later for fuel, Derek opened the vending machine slot to retrieve his snack, and as he pulled it out, he discovered something else. Taped behind the snack, a crude drawing of a face, with one eye crossed out, underneath 3 letters, "Follow." They threw the snack and left. Derek said later, "I kept hearing my name, and I kept thinking, if you turn and you see someone behind you in that lot, there's no one there, but you feel someone." The shadow by the restroom door. Summer traffic. Sarah and her husband Mark were traveling with their toddler daughter. They stopped at a large highway travel plaza, a brightly lit area with many vehicles and families. Everything seemed safe, normal. They parked, used the restrooms, grabbed some snacks. Their daughter was playing with a small toy in the car. As Mark fueled up the car, Sarah sat inside, watching their daughter through the windshield. A few minutes passed. Sarah noticed a man standing near the restroom door looking inside, though there was no reason to. He seemed tall, his figure thin, face hidden by a cap. He didn't approach, just lingered. Sarah felt uneasy. She watched as he pulled out his phone, pointed it toward the restrooms, but his attention seemed fixed on the car. Mark came back and joked about the man loitering. But when their daughter crawled into the back seat, she pointed to the rear window and said in her toddler voice, "Bad man behind Mommy." Sarah's blood ran cold. She asked what she meant, but the little girl stared silently. Mark and Sarah agreed to leave immediately. They pulled away, and in the rearview mirror they saw the man walk slowly toward their car, raise his phone as if trying to take a photo. They accelerated and didn't stop again until they reached their destination. Sarah later woke up in the night, convinced she heard a tap on the window. She ignored it, but for weeks, the memory of the man staring haunted her dreams. The lone pump and the man in the car. Michael was driving cross-country alone. It was late. He filled up at a tiny gas station off a two-lane highway. The station had two pumps, both isolated under one canopy. Beyond it was pitch-dark forest. He parked his car facing the road and stepped inside to pay. When he came out, pump nozzle still in place, he heard the engine of another vehicle behind his. He turned. A black SUV had pulled up at the pump next to his car, engine idling. The driver sat inside, windows dark tinted. Michael paid little attention and finished fueling. When he returned to his car, he heard footsteps behind him. But when he turned, no one was there. He looked back at the SUV. The driver's door opened, but the figure inside stayed seated. The ambient lights flickered. Michael's hand hovered over the handle of his car door as he slid in. He noticed the tinted SUV's engine rev a little, then slow. The vehicle pulled out of the pump and slowly followed Michael out of the station. Michael slammed his car into gear and pulled onto the highway. He glanced in his mirror. The black SUV was still behind him, headlights following his path. He took the next exit, waited until the SUV drove past the station and turned back onto the next off-ramp, and then re-entered the highway himself. He didn't stop again until sunrise, and didn't pull off for another random stop for weeks. When he finally did, he chose a station that was well lit, busy, and near other drivers. He later said, "I kept thinking, what if he pulled in beside me, not to fuel, but to watch, to wait." The man at the night counter. Finally, Amy's story. Amy and her boyfriend Dave were driving late to visit friends. They stopped at a 24-hour travel center, a large convenience store, fuel, snacks, coffee. Inside the store, the night shift clerk was young and polite, but his eyes darted too quickly. Everyone else in the place seemed to have left. Only Amy, Dave, the clerk, a few travelers at pumps. After paying, Amy returned to the car, and Dave stayed inside to grab more coffee. Amy looked around. In the aisle behind the store, through the large glass windows, she glimpsed movement. A man walking purposefully behind the pumps, carrying something long and dark. She motioned to Dave through the window, but his attention was fixed on the coffee machine. She tapped his shoulder and pointed. Dave followed her gaze. The man was gone. They returned to the car and drove out. Minutes later, as they merged back onto the road, Dave's phone pinged. A notification from the store's camera app they had on their account, just routine for receipts. It showed a thumbnail of the parking lot. They opened it. There, the image captured seconds after they left, showing the man standing in the open car door of their vehicle, his face turned toward the camera, dark and half hidden by shadow. The timestamp, 30 seconds after they had pulled away. They called the local police at their destination and shared the still. The clerk confirmed that a homeless man had been seen acting suspiciously around cars in the lot that night. Store security had driven him off earlier, but he had apparently returned. Amy said she never told Dave how scared she was when she saw him moving behind the pumps. She said, "I felt safe at first. Bright lights, open convenience store. But the bright lights made it easier for someone to hide in the glare and shadows. I keep replaying what he might have done if I'd gone into the car a minute later." Each of these stories shares something in common. Isolated locations, a false sense of safety, someone watching, someone waiting. A place we assume is safe, a rest stop, a gas station, becomes the setting for creeping dread. If you're driving late, consider these takeaways. Choose well-lit, busy stops rather than remote or empty ones. Stay alert even when you think you're safe. If something feels off, the lingering figure, the car that follows, the voice in the dark, trust that instinct. Check your surroundings, park facing the exit where possible, keep doors locked while fueling. Because the moment you let your guard down, you may become exactly the kind of story we just walked through. The safe haven becomes the trap. So next time you pull off the highway, fill up the tank, grab a snack, remember, the lights, the pumps, the convenience store. They don't guarantee safety. They only guarantee one thing, the illusion of convenience. And sometimes in that illusion, the real danger hides. If you watch to this level, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and click the bell icon for more dark, thought-provoking stories that dig deep into the human soul.